I'm Jack Bowen, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, goalkeeping. We're going to look at techniques employed and actually perfecting the move that we'll be working on for the rest of our time in the goal. We're going to start out with some of the basic positioning. We're going to move on then to some pull downs, a step, lunges, and eventually the lob shot. And I think one thing we really want to focus on is really forming good habits, because as a goalie, there's really not much time to think because everything's happening so quickly. So it's really all reaction. And we can take care of a majority of that in the water, in workout. So when the game time comes, we're ready to react. So let's get ready.
So first we look at just the ready position here, basic positioning. Hands are light. Using your hands though, it's important to keep your hands moving. Chin slightly off the water. So you don't want your hands out too far or in too close. Again, there's the chin slightly off the water. And just the basic ready position. If your hands in too close or out too far, makes it hard to get shots that are either straight above the head or to the corners. So you need to be real balanced. So look at the hands just outside the shoulders. So a lot of times in looking at leg speed in the ready position, I like to do a leg test. The speed of your legs when your hands are out should be the same when you're in your ready position. And this is a good way to test to see if you're doing that. I like to use the analogy of a spring, that your legs should be going so hard just as a spring should be loaded and ready to explode. Same thing here. When you're doing this leg test, you don't want to get off balance. You really want to be steady, because if you're off balance, then you're not getting out as high as you can, and you're not as much of a threat to the shooter. So again, the leg speed's high, hands are working just outside the shoulders. Now as you look from the side, we want to compromise between having our hips directly below our head and up on the surface. Because if they're directly below your head, you're losing out on some of that explosiveness, as you see here. But if they're way up on the surface, then you're missing out on a lot of lateral movement. So to compromise, you get our hips back in between, almost as if you're sitting at a desk but leaning over, and then the rest of the body position follows.
Now that we've looked at basic positioning, we're going to get back in the water and look at pull downs. Pull downs is the basis for the more complex moves that will soon follow.
Now we're ready to make our move to the ball. And before we do that, let's look at it without the ball. Let's look at the important things we need to focus on. Moving our head to every shot is one of the most important tenets of good goalkeeping. Secondly, moving our hands straight from the water to the ball. And thirdly, practicing explosiveness. Goalkeeper's move needs to be explosive, and that's the way that we need to train. So we look at pull downs with the ball. We're still moving our head to the ball, working explosively, getting our hands straight from the water to the ball. If you look, we'll see later from behind, we're controlling the ball. We're not catching it, but we're knocking the ball down in front of us so that we maintain control of the ball. And again, as you'll see later, how important it is to get our body moving behind the ball. Even the low pull down, we want to get our body up so there's as much of our body is behind the ball as possible, which will help us control it, and eventually for corner shots will help us get to the corners faster. Now as you see from the side view, it's important again that we're blocking the ball in front of our heads, and in a sense we're actually coming out and meeting the ball instead of having the ball come and meet us. And that's where we'll get some of our forward movement. We're not lunging forward, but by moving our head to the ball and blocking the ball out in front, we're coming out and controlling the shot instead of the shot controlling us. Now while the pull down is our most basic move, it's the basis for all future moves that we'll be working on. We're doing pull downs to form good habits, for conditioning, and for warm-ups for taking shots. The national team goalies are doing pull downs every single day, and so should you. Joe Bertanga, the goalie coach of the National Hockey League's Boston Bruins, writes, "In order to keep your sanity as a goalie, you have to think of yourself not as a target, not as somebody out there to be hit by pucks. You can act on the puck yourself. It is not that somebody is acting on the puck and it is bouncing off you, but you are actually sort of aggressively or almost offensively playing goal. The goalie should stop worrying about stopping the shooter and instead think that the shooter has the real problem of beating the goalie."
Great. Now that we've looked at pull downs, we're going to move on to the next shot, which is a step, which is a derivative from a coach I had at Stanford, Bronco. This is something we worked on. I think is very important and beneficial to the goalkeeper, and that is learning to get your body to move behind the ball. And it's akin to the soccer goalie who builds the wall before he builds the roof, and the same idea applies here. Getting our body behind the ball will give us more control over the ball, and eventually will get us to the corner faster.
So here again, the only thing we're adding to our pull down is the movement of our body moving laterally. If you see, the whole body of the goalkeeper moves laterally and not just his hands. So again, looking at this in slow motion, the things that we want to focus on is the ready position and not leaning and cheating over early. And then the movement of the head and the body towards the ball. And then finally, the movement of the hands flattening out to keep the head above water for any play that may ensue. Now from this angle, you can see the involvement of the hands. You see the trailing hand gets a small push off the water. Again, the hands aren't deep, they're light, but we're using them to help us. As a goalie knows, during practice, you never know where the ball's going, so here it gives us a chance to focus on that. Now as you'll see here, the shooter is pointing to the side where he's shooting the ball. And this just gives the goalkeeper a chance to really focus on the technique which we've been talking about. Again, head to the ball, hands straight from the water to the ball, moving the body laterally, and moving explosively. From behind, you can really see the lateral movement accentuated a bit. And again, the controlling of the ball, getting the ball back to the shooter, being in the set position, and then making one explosive move. And again, you can see the goalkeeper's body is completely behind the ball. There's absolutely no way the ball is going to squeak by the goalie, and on top of that, it's totally controlled.
Great. Now that we can take these skills, our positioning, our pull downs, and our step, can apply to the most complex move the goalkeeper makes, and that's the lunge to the corner. So keeping all that in mind, we're now going to build upon that and see how we can get our hand to that shot that's going to the corner as quickly and as explosively as possible.
Now we're adding to the step, getting that lead hand going straight to the corner, having the body move laterally to the corner, the head always leading the move. Again, it's important to remember when blocking a shot, the head leads the body to the ball. See the opposite hand pushing the body over to the corner. The blocking hand is in front of the body, controlling the shot. And again, before the shot, body's very steady and in that good ready position.
Yes, so I'm easy. They don't even want to know.
So here the mistake is the goalie's not moving his hand directly to the corner. You can see it going up first and then over. Here we see the goalie's hand swinging from low to high, so the ball would have to be timed perfectly for the shot to be actually blocked. Here the goalkeeper fails to use his opposite hand to push his body across, and instead carries it across the water as if an extra weight. The last example of a common error is cheating across the goal before making the move. Again, in a game, if you move early, you're dead in the water. Again, from another angle, we can see how the goalkeeper needs to do absolutely everything he can do to get his hand from the water to the corner, even going through the corner to make sure the shot's blocked. And then, as you can see here, we'll worry about recovery, bringing our head back over our hips and recentering in the middle of the goal. From above here, you can get a real good look at the hand positioning and the sculling that's going on. We're really using our hands to explode over and then recover. Another chance to look at the recovery, the lunge, the trailing hand pulls the head back over the hips. So again, there are the hands, light but being used. And following the explosion, the left hand is left to trail and pull the head back over the hips, and we're recentered and ready to lunge again. Here the right hand will trail, will give a big push to get over, and then pull the head back over the hips and recenter and ready for the next shot.
time for the ever so dreaded lob shot. I'd say the key that we want to think about is to go for every lob. We're going to get in the water in a moment and talk about the technique we need to employ, but we want to stay away from letting lobs go over the goal or in the goal without us going for them. Because this is the one way that we can train ourselves to do this move, which is completely different from all the moves that we've been working on now. So pay close attention, and this is where habits will really come into play. And as J.W. Robinson wrote in his book, How to Keep the Goal, 1906, goalkeepers do not grow on trees. This is a truism, no doubt, yet many people imagine that custodians of the sticks are as plentiful as berries in autumn. It's a poetic position, but you gotta be tough. Let's get on to the lob shot.
First of all, the lunge move is still a very explosive, powerful move, because likely we've got 8 of 10 feet of goal to cover. Here in Lifetime, we can see the actual rapid movement from one post to the other, and really getting that hand up to the corner. And as you see, as a goalie finishes his move, his head is almost against the goal post. He's moving his whole body from one side of the goal to the other. And it's that initial push that gets his body halfway across the goal that allows him to make the final move, which gets his hand to the corner. Also, as you'll see, we don't want to lunge for the ball until we get to where the ball's crossing the goal line. A common mistake made by inexperienced goalkeepers is they lunge for the ball when it's still 8 feet off the water, and as the ball is crossing the goal line 2 feet off the water, the goalie's falling underwater. Finally, you'll see we're going straight back to that opposite post to make sure we're blocking the ball on the goal line. Again, from above, we can see the importance of the hands in not only pushing us across, but really helping us lean on that right hand so we can get our left hand to the corner. As you see coming back the other way, now it's that left hand with the big push and lean to get our right hand to the corner. And again, the head is landing almost on the goalpost to assure that we get that blocking hand near to the corner. Again, starting in your ready position and exploding almost backwards to the post to block the ball on or near the goal line. Again, it's important to make sure you're starting your move in the ready position, because if you're not in the ready position, strong side's going to be open and the lob shot won't be a factor. So with the ball now, again, we're squared off to the shooter in ready position. And when we make that lob save, we want to try and again tip the ball to ourselves and control it so we can swim it out the face of the goal and control the ball. Again, it's important to have the habit of going for absolutely every lob shot, even if you know it's going over the cage. It's important to practice the move. So watch the stretch and extension here of the left arm as it reaches for the ball and tip it, control it, and swim it out of the goal. Now that we're comfortable with our technique, we're going to move on to the second half of the tape, which will focus on how we can work on our conditioning and our training and our technique through different drills in our workouts. The segment will be broken down into 4 sections of drills: swimming, technique, conditioning, and drills with the ball. Now, a good warm-up for the legs is the vertical breaststroke. And here you can see it's nice and calm, and you're in a rhythm, and it's really focusing on that power move of the vertical breaststroke kick, which helps get you to the corner. And once you feel comfortable with your hands in the water, you can bring your hands out, again staying smooth in that rhythm, and then push yourself to eventually getting your elbows out and going all the way. So you're keeping that chin off the water, and again that good rhythm, really focusing on the power move. In this next drill, head over hips, again we're focusing on goalie-specific swimming. So it's no more than just a 5-stroke explosive move to the wall. As you can see, we're starting out in a somewhat off-balance position. The goalie's hips are up on the water and the head is back. So it's forcing the goalkeeper to bring the head over the hips and then as explosively as possible take those 5 strokes to the wall. Now in this drill, once again, you can see we're focusing on the power phase of the kick. Goalkeeper has the back of his hands against his suit, is trying to get his heels up to his fingertips and use his fingertips as a springboard to explode. So we're working on flexibility and in maximizing explosiveness. Now with the head up butterfly, you can see first off needing to keep our heads up so we always know where the ball is. Secondly, timing it so that your breaststroke kick is propelling your body out of the water and really adding to the explosiveness of the move. This is very similar to what a lot of goalies will do in a 4-meter shot, which is really just exploding out and coming out big and taking off as much of the cage as possible.
For the goalies drill, we're doing more of like an egg beater kick. We're more up and down, you see from the side. I'm gonna be like this in the water instead of laid out on our backs, okay? Because we're basically, hey Joe, we're basically getting back into the goal, right? So if we come out too far, we need to get back into the goal. We're not gonna be like this, right? We're gonna be like this. I'm gonna be up, watching the play, my good body positioning so I can get back in the goal and block the shot. So that's what this is.
So again, with this, there's a real focus on the legs, your head's up, maybe even trying to get your chest up, and really maintain that high repetition of stroke rate so you can get back to the goal as quickly as possible. So from above here, you can really see the focus on the legs, and still there's that white water and that's a real urgency to get back. Following backstroke, then we have our triple stroke breaststroke, which is really, again, focusing on the legs.
We're doing this because we're coming out of the goal, maybe trying to get back to the goal. But where are we going? We're not going over there. We're not going over there. We're going right there. That's why we're swimming it.
So last on our head up freestyle, first of all, we want to be explosive, high turnover rate. Secondly, look where you're going, because you need to be focused on the ball when you're coming out of the goal.
It's so uneasy.
I'll lead first, and I'll do a set of 6. So basically, as soon as you see me do this, you're gonna exactly mirror it. So you're gonna left hand lunge. So then maybe, one of them I'll go like this, and again, you mirror going that way, 2 hands. If I do a lob this way, it means you would do a lob with that hand that way. So I'm gonna try and give you time after each lunge, so it's not gonna be, 1, 2, 3, like that. So again, it's being explosive when you see the move and not trying to rush through a set of 6. All right. Make sense?
So let's watch and see if the mirroring goalie is really reacting as quickly as possible to the goalie who's doing the acting. You can see his reaction speed could be a little quicker, but his explosiveness is good and his form is good, because you don't want to sacrifice form for trying to catch up to the other goalkeeper. The goalie who's leading, you want to make sure and give enough time in between each lunge for the other goalkeeper to follow. In this series, you see that the leading goalkeeper is going a little fast, and so that the goalie who's following has some trouble even keeping up because of the nature of the drill. Because the lob is such a unique move for the goalkeeper, it's important that every day some sort of training is done regarding the lob. Could be something as simple as doing laps of lob walking, as you see here. Just blocking a shot over and over again without even having to deal with the ball or the goal, so you can just focus on the move. And as you see here, the younger goalkeepers, instead of coming back over their hips, they're going straight across, and they're not really envisioning themselves as in front of a goal.
It's so uneasy. They don't even want to know.
Now with our basic leg strengthening, again, we're really focusing on good technique. So you start out the hands low, and when we go up to the hands high, the hands are in front of the face, we're out as hard as we can, and we're balanced. Almost more importantly than our forward movement is our lateral movement. This tends to be many top goalkeepers' main weakness, and you can obviously focus on this just by moving laterally and doing leg work like this every single day. Again, the hands are out, you're pushing yourself to go hard, and you're not cheating and leaning into the drill. You're keeping your legs and hips under your head so that you're in good blocking position at all times. As you can see here, if you lean over where now the head is leading the body, you might be able to move faster, but you're not going to be in any sort of position to block any shots. It's real important to keep the hips below the head. Now this next drill is actually named after my goalie coach from Stanford. And what we're really focusing on is going either 100% or 0%. So when you're up as high as you can be, still in good positioning, working hard, hands light. And when you reach that critical point, then you rest and you stay in one spot and rest. And after you catch your breath, it should maybe take 10 seconds, 15 seconds, you're up again and going 100%, walking as hard as you can. Again, you go a lap forward, side, side, back, and you should be exhausted by the end if done right. It also helps to have a coach standing on the deck yelling at you, trying to get you out as high as possible so that you and your coach and your other goalies are pushing each other to really stay up as high as possible and work the drill. It's important to reiterate that we're going in every direction when we're doing our leg drills. So here, backwards is just as important because we're moving backwards and forwards in the goal. Again, we don't want to get caught leaning too far backwards. We want to keep our head over our hips when we're going in every direction. Now our next drill, the gravity drill, is 2 moves. First move is a real explosive lunge straight above the head, trying to get out as high as you can, as explosively as possible. Secondly, we're really resisting gravity, fighting on the way down, trying to stay out for as long as possible, as high as possible. This next drill, egg beater with resistance, is a great opportunity for 2 goalkeepers to really work together and push each other. So you can see here, the goalie who's working is being pushed down by the goalie who's not working and really forcing him to work as hard as he can. From the side, you'll see that the non-working goalie's body is actually out of the water and putting that resistance on the working goalkeeper. A good variation to this drill is following 10 to 15 seconds of hard work, doing 3 to 4 good, quick, explosive lunges. And this next drill is a variation in our lunges, and here we're actually going for speed, getting from the corner back to the other corner as quickly as possible. Here you can see this goalkeeper is not quite extending her arm all the way to the corner and is taking a little extra time to get back to that ready position before she's lunging. In this drill, we're not necessarily concerned so much with getting to the ready position. We're concerned with getting our hand from one corner back to the other as quickly as possible. So next we'll see here where the elbow is extended and really reaching to the corner, and then as quickly as possible getting back to the other corner. And this drill, goalkeepers actually sometimes do while field players are doing test sets in the swimming field. They're doing test sets to see how long it takes them to get back and forth to 10 corners. So again, with the 3 strokes and the 3 lunges, we're still really focusing on explosiveness. And again, even though we're doing 3 quick lunges, we don't want to sacrifice the technique which we've been focusing on all along. So again, it's still hands in front of our face, moving our head and body to the shot, and being explosive. And these are just sandwiched in between sets of 3 hard explosive strokes out of the goal. Next, we can add more of a conditioning factor where instead of doing one move across the goal mouth, we're doing the move all the way to half court. So you see, really relying on that lead hand to lean on and keeping our trailing hand over our head with our head up, looking at it, and our shoulders out of the water as we move across the water. Again, this should be somewhat tiring because you're forcing yourself to do this move all the way to half court and then switching sides and going the other way. And your move should finish off with a big move towards the ball as if you were finishing off the move to block the lob shot. A firewalk, I think, is the optimum drill for conditioning the goalkeeper's legs because it involves lateral movement and it involves explosiveness and it focuses entirely on the goalkeeper's legs. As you see, the coach is walking laterally with the goalkeeper, and the goalie's hands are out of the water. The goalie receives the ball right above his head and explodes up, again without using his hands, only his legs, comes down with the ball. Then when throwing the ball back, the goalkeeper explodes straight up, and at the pinnacle of his jump, releases the ball.
Yeah, so I'm easy.
Now this next drill is just a variation on our regular pull downs. As you see here, the goalie who's shooting the ball gives two very obvious fakes and then throws a pull down. And what this allows the blocking goalie to do is to come out of the comfort zone as if he had fallen for a fake and still make his move. So it's real important because obviously in games, the goalkeeper is going to fall for fakes sometimes, and at that point you need to stay up, again out of the comfort zone, and still be able to make the move correctly. Head to the ball, blocking the shot out in front, and still being as explosive as possible while out of our comfort zone. Again, the goalie who's anticipating the shot obviously knows that these are just fakes. You've got to allow yourself to fall for the fake and come up so that you can participate in the drill and get the most out of it. Now, 3-ball Monty is a fun one. In this drill, do a pull down, and the goalie comes out to steal the ball from set, and then there's a lob shot. And as you see, as he's forced out to steal the ball from set, he's going to be slightly out of position, and of course that's why the lob comes. So what we're doing is really working on getting our head over our hips to steal the ball, and then back over our hips for the lob shot. And it's important to really challenge the goalkeeper on the lob, and if 1 out of 3 goes in, at least you know that you're pushing the goalie to really stretch and extend for the lob shot. This next drill is a fun drill. It's adapted from a soccer goalkeeping drill, and it's good dry land to do once every 2 weeks for maybe 15 minutes before workout. And it's based on the fact that you can condition your reflexes and train your reflexes. And again, obviously, in this situation, the goalie is missing out on the cues of reading the shooter and looking at the shoulder and the elbow and the tendencies, and is really just relying on the hand-eye coordination of seeing the ball come off the wall. So as you see here, the person throwing the ball, you want to keep the ball low, and so it's bouncing off the wall high, as it would in a water polo game. And you can mix it up with some lob shots and bouncing it off the ground, sort of maybe making a noise to the left and throwing it to the right. But again, you're really pushing the goalie. As you see, the goalie misses 1 or 2, and so you know that you're really challenging him. And you're obviously keeping it within the halo, trying to avoid a shot right back at the face, and again, challenging the goalie so that he's making quick moves to block the shot. Now this next drill is a slight variation from one that we saw earlier in the video, and this is something that obviously a goalie can do with his coach. I like to do this with my goalkeepers before every game to get them in their rhythm and remembering all the technique that we focused on. So as you can see, the coach takes a deliberate step laterally, and the goalie remains in position, and then the coach throws the ball at quarter speed just so the goalie can focus on the ball and focus on exploding and moving his head and body to the ball. Again, it's just a chance for the goalkeeper to fine-tune his techniques. Now this next drill is a fun one. Yet it forces the goalie to really work on his explosiveness and forces him to concentrate. Sort of along the lines that if the goalkeeper can block a tennis ball and get his hands behind a tennis ball, then he'll certainly be able to get his hands behind a much larger object, namely that of a water polo ball. Now, cannonball run consists of anywhere from 2 to 8 lunges, and then the goalie immediately turns and takes 4 strong side shots. And as you see by the nature of the drill, the goalie is actually forced out of position because he's coming across strong side, if he can, making the save with 2 hands, or if he has to stretch, making it with 1, and then he has to recover and immediately get to the other side. Now, the 2 shooters, wait a second so the goalie at least gets to halfway across the goal, and then take the shot, really challenging the goalie to get over strong side and really reach for the block. Now with one-eyed jacks, the goalkeeper doesn't know where the ball will be shot from until the pass is made. So again, he's forced slightly out of position. The pass is coming from inside the goal over the goalkeeper's shoulder. And as you see here, pass comes out, and right now we're just shooting strong side. So once the goalie sees who has the ball, he can make his move to the strong side. Now this obviously can get a little fun, as you'll see in the next one, where the goalie who's passing can splash to one side, make some movements, pass to the other side, and the shot comes. So it takes some of the guesswork out of the goalie and really makes it a little tricky. So here on the next pass, I think it's the double reverse, the double splash, and the pass to the strong side. Goalie actually makes a great two-handed save there, strong side. And then obviously once you've got the hang of this drill, you can mix it up and allow the shooters to shoot anywhere in the goal. You can add fakes, you could add one pass. It can get as complex as the goalkeeper in the goal wants it to. Right now we're sticking with strong side shooting only, and we'll move on to where they can shoot strong side or cross cage. But as you see here, it does force the goalie to be middle cage, and it's just as if there was a pass on top that the goalie wasn't anticipating, and the shot comes and he's slightly out of position. Okay, for our next drill, fire in the hole, the object here is to get a lot of quick shots while moving across the goal laterally. And again, as with all of our drills, the shooter here is just as important as the goalkeeper, really challenging the goalkeeper to, while moving laterally, having her hands out to extend herself. And as you see, most of the shots are within what we call the halo, either right above her head or maybe sneaking under her arm, or maybe a few lob shots, but it's rapid. The shot is blocked and controlled, and then the goalie gets the ball back to the shooter and gets reset for the next shot. And this drill too is designed to force the goalie to concentrate on the shooter and the ball which the shooter is shooting. So here you see the goalies on the outside can throw tennis balls in the field of vision of the blocking goalkeeper, throw other water polo balls, and as you'll see, even make a big splash with kind of a wall of water for the shooter to fire the ball through. Again, it's forcing the goalie, who a lot of times is focusing on a lot of different things, to focus on the primary objective, which is blocking the actual shot. So again here, there's the 3 tennis balls, there's the other water polo ball, and there's the wall of water that the shooter is shooting through.
Great. Well, that concludes the first lesson today. Hope you enjoyed it and have got a lot out of it. We have a lot of food for thought. Again, this is something that we're practicing every day in the water. The national team goalies are doing it. You should be doing it too. We've got our basic positioning, our pull downs, our step, our lunges, and the lob. And these all build on everything else, creating a whole picture. So I hope you enjoy the sport, the position, because as many sport enthusiasts have noted, goalkeeper is one of the most, if not the most noble position in athletics. So I hope you enjoy it, you take this home and work on it every day. I hope to see you at NC2A Finals, national team, or the Olympic Games. Thank you.
Former San Diego Soccer's goalkeeper Alan Meyer notes, "It's essential that you keep practicing goalie drills. It's only through constant repetition of these drills in practice that they will become automatic to you. Then, when a particular situation arises in a game, you will react automatically, having done it 100 times before."
What began as innocence soon be overcome. She said she wants this ball to know, but I know she's wrong. She will live no difference. Take them one by one. does he notice